video when I sent it to you. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the HoopsCast. I am your host, Jacob, a.k.a. Rusty Buckets, joined by my co-host, Muhammad, a.k.a. Mojo99. Say what's up, Mojo.
What's up?
And now joined again by, I guess, this fucking leech, who's our unofficial third co-host. Mojo, or Rudy is here again. I called him Mojo.
Yeah, that's not the first time you've called me Mojo. I didn't know
not?
you were on to
Yeah.
me.
He's a fucking leech. Look at this little gremlin. So today, there's nothing much to talk about other than the Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell thing, but I really don't want to talk about that. I guess we could if you guys want to, but other than that,
we should
there's
start
not
off
much,
with that.
not much going on in the NBA right now. So we wanted to mix it up. Today we're going to talk about what NBA player we think would survive the Hunger Games, as well as how we would do a heist, how we would rob a bank with 3 NBA players of our choice, as well as talk about this debate that came up on Twitter a couple days ago that's probably irrelevant by now, and that's Allen Iverson versus Dwayne Wade.
Okay. Got you.
Did you say you wanted to talk about the Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell thing?
Yeah, let's just touch on it because it's actual news.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, man. So, what was your initial thoughts once this came out that Donovan Mitchell really doesn't mess with Rudy?
Well, add him to the list of every other player in the NBA. Seems like every player hates Rudy Gobert. And I never understood the hatred of Rudy Gobert before this, but now it's like, kind of fuck that guy.
Yeah. Feel you, dog. Feel you. To be honest, I thought that Donovan Mitchell was just gonna kind of let this blow over and just, let bygones be bygones and shit and just forgive him, But damn, he's taking this to heart, and to be honest, he has every right to take this to heart because it's it's a life-threatening thing that's going out there.
Yeah, that's the thing that came across my mind too. It's just the life-threatening element.
Look, the thing is, rationally, odds are Gobert didn't even really give Donovan the virus, but regardless of that, he was still acting like a fuckhead. And if you're being irrational and you've been cooped up in your penthouse / mansion all day, and you got to think about why that's the case, you might just get come to the conclusion of fuck that guy.
Yeah, literally.
Even if rationally we can look at it and be like, Gobert probably didn't give it to him, that doesn't mean that he doesn't think that he did, and that's all that really matters.
Yeah, you're right on that, dude. You're right on that.
I don't think telling Mitchell hey, he probably didn't give it to you is gonna change how he feels about it.
Exactly, because the idea of him still giving it to him is still there, and the possibility of him.
And the fact that he was out there coughing on his teammates during in the locker room, what? How are you fucking stupid? Yeah, I think that's the reason why. If he just had it and he didn't know, that would be one thing. But him touching microphones and coughing on people in the locker room is a joke. Basically the conclusion here is fuck that guy.
Yeah. So
and one of the first things I thought after the news came out was the Jazz are gonna get out of having to give him a max that he's not worth. A super max.
Rudy Gobert. Yeah, Rudy Gobert, he's better than a lot of NBA players, than a lot of centers out there, but it's kind of weird to, it's really weird to give him a max or anything close to that. What do you think he's worth? How much would you pay Rudy Gobert if your team really needed him?
$28 million a year, max.
28. Damn, that's so painful, though, because, he doesn't have a large impact, and, his impact really doesn't show.
Rudy Gobert on your team, as long as the rest of your personnel is not absolutely bad, that's the best defense in the league. That's just how impactful he is on that end. And he's not a bad offensive player, so I think he is worth that. However, I also don't want to give a massive chunk of my salary cap to a guy who's not really an offensive guy.
Yeah, 35 mil is fucking wild.
But here's the thing. And I because I saw this, I made a video on it, and it's my last video to hit 100,000 views, and I'm kind of salty that it's been a while, but that's fine. Rudy, because he made an all NBA team last season, I believe it was, and an all defensive team, he is now eligible for the Supermax, which means when he gets signed in 2021, there is a legitimate chance that if he had stayed in Utah and if they gave it to him, he would have been making $60 million a year.
Oh yeah, you did make that video. I remember. That was like last year, right?
10 months
Summer
ago.
2019.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, that's crazy. I remember watching that video. That shit right there sounds like pain as a DM. Like literally
I'm not
depression.
paying that much money to Rudy Gobert. I'm not paying that much money to anyone that's not a top 5 player in the league.
Yeah, bruh. I mean, I think I'd do it like for a top 7, 8, 10 player, maybe 11. But for someone like Rudy Gobert, who is like at the end of the day, he's limited on the court and only has his impact can only reach so far compared to like a perimeter player or a center who can do who actually has offensive skills. I wouldn't do that shit no matter what, bro. Shit's dead.
Mojo, I would actually like.
What's your take on this, Rudy? The other Rudy that's here.
I'm really curious about Mojo's opinion on this specifically. Yeah. Yeah, let's not get it twisted. I'm the good Rudy in the NBA for once. I'm not the one that people don't like.
Dude, so many... fucking Zay posted a start bench cut with the 3 of us, and I was surprised how much I got cut. What the fuck?
I figured I was the auto cut for everyone, but...
I don't understand how you were cut like the same amount as me, considering you're, no offense, a lot less known than I am.
No, you're absolutely right. Shout out to everyone who didn't cut me on that thread on Twitter. But I'm really mostly curious about Mojo's perspective on Rudy in particular, because I feel like if there was one team in the NBA that actually qualifies for having Rudy Gobert on their roster, it is the Atlanta Hawks, because they have so much youth on that team, and having a solid defense is a very important element to building a successful, positive, winning youth culture. And
if there's any yin to Trae Young's yang, it's fucking Rudy Gobert.
Right, yeah.
I can't think of a player that's more the opposite of Trae Young than Rudy Gobert.
Exactly. So, if anything, they would make an excellent fit. However, with that being said, Clint Capella, with his contract over the next 3 seasons, right? You have 2021 being a $16 million.
Yeah, it's much more healthier.
Over 2021 through 2023. He makes 16, 17, 18 million dollars.
He doesn't touch the defensive impact of Rudy Gobert.
Yes, definitely not. But he does give you just enough to be like a serviceable guy in a similar role, right? Especially on offense. Him and Rudy Gobert are incredibly comparable on offense. So with that, all that being said, Mojo, how much would you be willing to give up to sign?
I wouldn't
to trade Clint Capella.
Can I say my piece? Can I say my piece about this?
Yeah, of course.
Because I'm planning on making a 2K talk about this. I don't think any team in the league should trade for Rudy Gobert, and it's for one simple reason. His impending free agency, we are going to have to probably pay him more than he's worth. And 2, Rudy Gobert is now probably the most hated player in the league at this point. Not saying from a fan base perspective, but from the players within it. When this guy was found out, when it was found out that he had corona, dead ass, Evan Fournier is the only player in the entire fucking league who said prayers up for Rudy Gobert or something like that.
And that's only because they're the same nationality and they played together and shit, and they known each other for a minute.
So this could be complete bullshit, and maybe people will be over it in 2 years. But I feel like people in the NBA are gonna fucking hate Rudy Gobert. So if you trade for Rudy Gobert, you're not going to be signing any big free agent while he's on your team, because no one's going to want to play with the guy. And you might lose guys in free agency because of it, because everyone in the league fucking hates him. So, I've seen people suggest that the Bulls trade for Rudy Gobert, and I'm
I really see that.
And I'm like, no, because one, the Bulls are going to have $70 million in cap space in the 2021 free agency. So I would rather sign someone then than trade for Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
But then the thing is, if you trade for Rudy Gobert, you have to pay him, and he has to be one of the maxes that you would give out. And then what guy in that free agency class is joining Rudy Gobert? Because no one in the league fucks with him. I don't want to trade for Rudy Gobert when we already have Wendell Carter, who I think can be 80% as impactful as Rudy Gobert is.
Yeah, Rudy. It's so crazy how much he like tainted his how he's portrayed by people. Like if you're like I guarantee you that Rudy he would take back if he could like switch instances and like instead of he still catches corona, but instead of like playing around with it publicly and like allowing his playfulness to be displayed on TV and shit like that. I think he'd rather have like his fucking sex tape leak, like fucking Jamal Murray, rather than something like this, because the sex tape shit, like that happens every other year with NBA players and just people in general. And that shit just blows over. Nobody cares. But this, something like this, ain't no blowing over. And that really hurts his image.
This is going to follow Rudy for a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
What's fucked up, his legacy is probably going to be the guy. No, don't say it. Don't say it. Bleep it. I almost said it and I was stopping myself. The Roni man. We'll say the Roni man.
Jesus Christ.
Like, I think Rudy Gobert is going to be known more for this than anything he does with his career. That's kind of fucked up.
It's like the way that Dikembe Mutombo is always associated with the finger wag and his silly little voice rather than being an incredible defensive player. Rudy Gobert is always going to be associated with canceling the NBA from being just a big old asshole.
And even though, yes, Rudy Gobert, it was going to be canceled regardless, that doesn't change people's perception. Right. That's all that really matters here.
Yeah.
Perception is reality half of the damn time, and in this case, I think that's what
we just got done talking about how feelings matter more than facts when it comes down to Donovan Mitchell's like feelings regarding Rudy Gobert. So I mean, that's going to scale.
Yeah, and this is the perfect point. You're right. And this is a perfect point. Like, so what if, like, obviously it's going to be, like, nearly impossible to trade Rudy Gobert because no one's going to want that man on their team. Unless you're, like, a team that needs something in place, like the fucking, like, Detroit Pistons or something like that. But I don't even think they would do that.
If I'm the Jazz, I'm trying everything in my power to rekindle that relationship.
Yeah, like, or else, like, what if, like, the Jazz, like, walk up to Donovan Mitchell and be like, hey, man, we can't do nothing about it. He has to stay on the team. What if, like, they're brought up to a certain point to where they have to, like, Donovan Mitchell demands a trade because he just don't want to be in the same facility as Rudy.
I don't know. It depends how strongly he feels. Like, if he's, demanding a trade level, then I'm trading Rudy Gobert. Because even though Rudy Gobert, in my opinion, is the best player on the Jazz, Donovan Mitchell 3 years from now is going to be the best player on the Jazz. So
I don't even think he's the best player on the Jazz. You're tripping on that. But I do think
he's that impactful defensively. Like,
he's
seriously.
Not. So are you telling me if you strip Rudy Gobert from the Jazz or strip Donovan Mitchell from the Jazz, who's going to be a better team? Which team is better?
The Jazz without Donovan Mitchell are a better team than the Jazz without Rudy Gobert.
The Jazz without Donovan Mitchell are a better team than
The Jazz are worse without Rudy Gobert than they are without Donovan Mitchell. That's what I'm trying to say.
I don't see. Okay, and there's my thing with it. I don't think that's true because I did a video like this like two years ago, back when Donovan Mitchell and Ben Simmons were like rookies and shit. And I literally sat down and counted out how many games Joel Embiid missed in his during Ben Simmons' rookie year compared to Rudy Gobert missed during Donovan Mitchell's rookie year. And in those years, obviously those are some of the best centers in the NBA. Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, he ended up missing a couple more games, and he had a better record than Ben Simmons in the Western Conference. So that's just kind of proof to show that, like, Donovan Mitchell, he's the better player.
Here's what I'll say. Other than this year, because this year the Jazz have been weird, but I'll say for the years previous, the Jazz have always been one of the 3 best defensive teams in the league and middle of the pack offensively. Mitchell is an offensive player. Rudy Gobert is a defensive player. Rudy leads the defense. Mitchell leads the offense. The Jazz have always been a top defense while a middle of the pack offense. So that's why I feel that way.
Yeah, but I feel like you could take that same premise and then like use it to say that, oh, well, without Rudy, then what are they? Mediocre on offense and mediocre on defense. Then they're just mediocre. Whereas if they lose Donovan, you're like, it's a little bit easier to make up baskets rather than it is to make up stops.
Especially considering they have Bojan Bogdanovic, who has been ridiculous.
Yeah, man. And Mike Conley is a really good number 1 scoring option when he isn't fucking sucking like he has been all year. Once he gets comfortable, I'm hoping he'll bounce back. But Michael Conley fucking sucks.
Yeah. Well, okay, but here's the thing, guys. Here's what I wanted to get to, because like I've been seeing my friends and shit been sending me like images of Donovan Mitchell jersey swaps in Atlanta Hawks and in Atlanta Hawks
Don't
jersey.
mistake me saying that for me saying they should trade Donovan Mitchell, because they should.
No. I'm not. I'm just playing with the idea.
They should trade Rudy Gobert if they have to choose between the two.
But I'm just saying, like, if Donovan Mitchell requests a trade or demands a trade, there's nothing you can do about that. You know.
I mean,
in this scenario, he's probably saying him or me. So
I know, but
so
like,
trade Rudy,
what if
and then he'll be quiet.
Okay, listen. I'm just saying, what if he just wants to be done with that organization? Because we all know how damn near impossible it is to get rid of Rudy. I'm pretty sure the Utah Jazz are pretty much going to try to force each other to be cool again. And, you know, I'm just playing with this idea. I'm reaching like a motherfucker here. But what if Donovan Mitchell, you know, requests a trade and, you know, I'm pretty sure one of his preferred spots is going to be like the Atlanta Hawks, obviously, because of Trae Young.
Yeah, there it is.
That's where I'm going.
I saw it coming.
That's where I'm going with it. And this makes sense because we literally, if you look at the Atlanta Hawks team, like, bro, like, we have hella young players and we're strapped from everywhere. But these young players, a lot of them aren't good. Like Kevin Huerter, I love the man. He's one of my favorite players, but he's not a starter on this team. He's not a starter on most teams. I think he's a good 6.
Here's the thing.
So I feel like
Jazz are not under any circumstance trading Donovan Mitchell. They will trade Rudy Gobert. They'll trade their whole team before they trade Donovan Mitchell.
Bro, I know. I was reaching. What the hell? I said I was reaching like a mug.
Being able to reach, that's not happening.
Yes, I said that's the point. I said I was reaching. I'm playing with the idea, dingus. I said I was reaching. Now to continue my further.
Okay, I'm playing with the idea that he could be traded to the Bulls.
Hell no, that's a reach. Hell no, that don't make no sense. Play with the idea of Rudy being on the Bulls, all right?
We can give him Zach LaVine, who does
the
same shit. That's a way better package than anything Atlanta has.
Are you on the devil's lettuce, man? Like, relax.
I'm rolling the devil's lettuce as we speak.
Relax. But
you're saying Zach LaVine's not a better trade asset than Kevin Huerter?
No, he is, but I mean, we're not talking about that, okay? No, the Bulls are a reigning team. The Hawks are targeted for a reason.
Let's bring it back down to reality.
They trained Trae Young and Donovan Mitchell trained together in the summer. But I just want to throw this idea out there.
Donovan Mitchell isn't going anywhere. This is irrelevant.
I know, dingus. Top 5 pick, you know, Kevin Huerter. They could throw in DeAndre Hunter too, or whatever the fuck. A couple first round picks if they want to. Hey, we can make it happen. I'm just letting all Utah Jazz fans know, you know, what's up. All my Atlanta Hawks fans, you know, that's just another possibility because we have an endless amount of, you know.
Trade their pick this year and another asset for Bradley Beal. Not Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's not happening. I wouldn't say it's not happening. It's not out of the conclusion. I think
happening.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's out of the conclusion.
Let's see here. Would you, Mojo, be okay with trading?
Yeah.
Let me make sure this works in the machine. Try trade. Yeah, it does.
Oh, he's really doing it.
Would you be okay with trading Clint Capella and Dwayne Dedmon for Rudy Gobert and Ed Davis?
Clint Capella and Dwayne Dedmon. I like Ed Davis a lot. Shit.
Yeah, Ed Davis is underrated. He's like the 3rd best rebounder in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, shit, I'll be cool with it because I think we'd be a better team because, you know, I think we'd be a better team. I'd be cool with it for sure.
Well, that's a legitimate, you know, real possibility based on what I'm looking at in like the trade machine. Yeah. I mean, I just feel like Rudy
I'd be cool with that for sure.
Fit in Atlanta and in nowhere else really. So I really think like if he's going to go somewhere, Atlanta is perfectly positioned for it. And it would be really good for them.
I mean, wouldn't Atlanta have a decent amount of cap space in 2021?
Dude, if they signed Rudy Gobert to a supermax,
this summer
I'm
we
being
do.
Dead ass
Next
when I
summer
say this,
we might.
I'm checking the math. You know, I'm staring at the cap sheet. Even if they sign Rudy Gobert to a supermax, they have another fucking max slot while they still have all their young assets under their rookie deals.
Yeah, it's still.
So Atlanta?
It's. I don't know.
Well,
man.
that's before we like re-sign John Collins though. So that's kind of inaccurate.
Yeah,
it's kind of skewed. That's before John Collins.
Don't you also have to re-sign Trae Young in that offseason?
I'm looking at 21-22. Because
Wait,
no, you wouldn't. Yeah, you wouldn't. That'd be his 3rd season. So he'd still be on his rookie contract.
Trae Young's a little later.
Yeah.
But John Collins, his shit, he's gonna want it back, and I'll give it to John.
Yeah, you're gonna have DeAndre Bembry going into restricted free agency.
Oh no, you wouldn't want to lose DeAndre Bembry.
Right.
Shiver me timbers.
Yeah, so like all that. Let's see. Cam Reddish is still under contract. You're gonna have the 6th pick this year, still under contract. It's Trae Young's last year. Yeah, so you're really just looking at John Collins.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
but aside from that, like we still have a fuckload of money to play with.
And plus, John Collins also like has his bird rights because he's you've had him.
I think I would just stick with Clint Capella, honestly.
But you don't want that boost.
Even though I know
defense.
Rudy Gobert is a lot better, I'm more comfortable with the money and being able to sign free agents.
If I was Atlanta, I would be willing to give up Clint Capella and just make that swap plus maybe the 6th pick. Honestly, if I was like super desperate to make my team,
I don't want to give up. I'm not giving up our pick for for Rudy Gobert. That shit dead. I'm not giving up my pick. Hell no. I need Edwards in my life. I'm not giving up no pick for Rudy Gobert. That is deceased.
All right.
But I give it like the next year's pick.
I think we're gonna have to stick to just either the Hunger Games or the heist thing because we're already 21 minutes into this shit.
Nah, it's been a hoot.
Oh yeah, this is elongated as hell.
But let's talk about Wade versus Iverson now. Where are all you guys picking here?
I mean, I feel like based on my previous appearance on the show, it's pretty obvious that I'm pro Iverson, but I'll let you guys go off first.
But over
I
Wade,
think
though.
when it comes to like, what are we talking about? Like better player or like better career?
Better player.
Better player, I think I would choose Wade. Just because he's proven, and you can't take anything away from that, and you can take stuff away from Allen Iverson. Yeah, I think I'm going Wade, and plus, I think a lot of people forget how like insane Wade was way earlier in his career when this man was dropping 30.
Yeah, what's the problem is a lot of people's memory of Dwayne Wade is him on those big 3 Heat.
Yeah. A lot of you Zoomers.
And obviously that was like...
Us gradient millennial Zoomers and bona fide millennials, we remember Dwayne Wade before the LeBron matchup.
Yeah, whatever, you old fuck. Wow. You really made a Family Guy joke.
I'm old as fuck. What can I say?
What's your take on it?
I am also taking Wade over Iverson for sure.
I think Wade's had a better.
I have
career,
a simple,
but I would like raw talent.
But as talents, though, here's the reason. All right, I think offensively, Iverson was slightly better than Dwayne Wade. However,
yeah, for sure.
Defensively, it's no contest. No contest. Yeah. So and just by that simple fact, I'm giving it to Wade for sure. Yeah. With confidence.
Yeah, I think AI is better than him offensively, but it's not so much better to the point where it like overlaps Dwayne Wade's defense.
See,
and I don't even think Iverson is like that much better offensively than Wade. Like I think he's like 10% better.
See, admittedly for me, the idea of Allen Iverson is a little bit more romanticized than Dwayne Wade because I've seen a lot more Dwayne Wade. Like one of my earliest basketball memories is being on the phone with my friend Brad. He was a big Kobe fan. And it was during that game where Kobe hit that one-legged bank shot 3 over D-Wade for the win. It was during that game we were having the argument about who's better. And I was Team Wade. And then Kobe made that shot. And I was like, never mind. So I've been way more exposed to Dwayne Wade. Allen Iverson, he's the guy that got traded for Chauncey Billups that put him on the Nuggets for me. So there's a lot more mystique involved in AI for me. But with that being said, I'm going to appeal to the mystery and think about the what ifs of if AI was on an actually decent circumstance, a decent team, one that actually maximized his talents. Like I said last time,
I do want to say something about Iverson.
It was
because you talked. I don't agree with that at all. You talked about like Iverson with spacing and like that kind of deal.
Yeah.
When he was in Denver, granted it was partially out of his prime. He had spacing, and the team was instantaneously better with Chauncey Billups.
Yeah, but that's because of the Melo effect. There's only one ball.
But Melo was still a decent off-ball player. And like there is enough. I think there was enough there to put some hesitance towards your spacing theory that like with spacing he'd just be this god tier player.
I will dispute that by saying that while yes, there was some spacing on those relatively modern Denver teams with AI and Carmelo on them, because of the amount that Carmelo and AI relied on iso ball to maximize their flow and their game, it negated the amount of potential spacing that would have otherwise been there if, say, Melo was a pure spot-up player, a guy who didn't like to post up.
I'm just saying we have seen Iverson with some spacing, and Chauncey, a player on Chauncey Billups' level, no offense, was instantly more impactful.
I mean, Chauncey may be
Chauncey
a better
Billups
player.
Is clearly miles behind Dwayne Wade.
American Numbers, who's and that's his Twitter handle. His actual name is fucking Arturo. But he's kind of never wrong about anything. I think in his top 50 all time, he actually has Chauncey higher. He's a big math guy, so the numbers might suggest that Chauncey is better.
Fucking nerd.
Yeah.
Well, if you think Chauncey is better than Iverson,
that's how much I think Iverson was underutilized.
If you think Chauncey's better than Iverson, then you have to think that Wade is better than Iverson.
I do.
Chauncey is not as good as Wade.
I do. But I'm just saying, in my heart, 51% of me truly believes that Allen Iverson was a better player that never got to shine.
I would have loved. But
I'm gonna say that Dwayne Wade for sure every time.
I would have loved to see like prime Chris Webber and like a bunch of spacing on those Sixers teams. I think that would have been phenomenal.
Yeah, go on.
Because unfortunately, Chris Webber came to the Sixers way too late, and he still averaged like I think 18 or so points, but it wasn't enough. But like prime Chris Webber, I mean, I was talking about him in my video the other day. Very underrated in my opinion. I think Iverson with another scorer like that who gets a lot of his offense by playing with a guard and then a bunch of shooting would have been great to see. But with that said, Wade is still considerably better. And I do think it's fair to say Wade in like 2006, there wasn't that much spacing on that team that he took to a championship.
Yeah, well, in 2006, spacing wasn't really a
pretty
thing
much
that existed.
single-handedly.
Let's be honest here. Spacing pre-Curry is a different thing. Like when we talk about spacing, we're talking about having a person who
he
takes
used to
threes.
get a lot of credit for having spacing. Like in like 2008, spacing was having a power forward that could shoot a mid-range shot.
Yep. Like Kenyon Martin could provide the occasional spacing as a power forward by taking an occasional 18-footer. You know, that opened things up for a lot of players on the team with the way the game was played back then. Now it's like people are debating if it's even worth having anyone on the court who can't shoot. Right? It's like Rudy Gobert. What's his value? He's the best defender in the NBA most nights, arguably at least. Yet he is not a three-point shooter, so is he even tradable?
Yeah, like I heard a debate the other day, and it got me thinking, thinking about my own beliefs in basketball, which doesn't happen that often. And it was, taking contracts as a factor out of this, like, would you rather have Brook Lopez or Rudy Gobert? Because Brook Lopez this year has been a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and he can hit his threes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, straight up, just no hesitation, Brook Lopez. And he's been a good defensive player during his time in Milwaukee. He's basically, I mean, he gets an advantage of having Giannis, who's also one of the best defenders in the NBA on his team.
The problem is he can't really defend guards, but
he also can't exist on his own as like a defensive anchor.
The Bucks have a defensive scheme that allows him to utilize his strengths while minimizing his weaknesses.
Right. I mean, shout out to Coach Bud. He's one of the best regular season coaches in the NBA.
I miss you, Bud. God damn, come back.
Notice how he said regular season.
Yeah. Coach Bud is on that Popovich tree that tends
watching
to flop
that
in the
Raptor series,
postseason.
and he refused to make an adjustment to his game plan, and it just fucking destroyed him. And I don't know why he doesn't get more shit for that.
Shout out to Brett Brown for being the only guy on the Popovich tree of disciples who has escaped the curse of failing to make postseason adjustments, because he is actually willing to take chances more than the other guys, and he's still a fairly conservative adjuster in the postseason, but he does just enough.
Yeah, he's also not a very good coach, but
yeah, I like him.
I'd still, yeah, whatever. So I think we all agree Wade then.
Yeah, begrudgingly.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Begrudgingly.
Now we're on to one of my favorite parts of this podcast. You know, the kind of weird parts. So So just to add a little bit of context, maybe last week or whatever, we plan to. These guys threw the idea at me of having a Hunger Games segment a part of the podcast. Yeah. Now, for someone like me, and maybe a few of you guys listening to this right now, I'm not a big TV watcher like that at all. Like it's just not my thing. I can't do it. But they brought up this Hunger Games thing, and I was like, oh, what the hell is Hunger Games? Like, I mean, I heard of it obviously, but I don't know like really what it is and what the whole idea behind it is. So, what is it, Rusty? Again, just for the people who need their minds to be refreshed.
In middle school, I fucking loved the books, The Hunger Games, and then I watched the movies. Had a little bit of a thing for Jennifer Lawrence. May or may not have peeked those photos. And what was I trying to say here? Other than that, I'm a pervert.
Yeah. The only thing that I remember from Hunger Games is that there's a bunch of bad bitches shooting arrows, and that's it. That's literally it, bro.
So they choose a boy and a girl between the age of 13 and 18, I think. 13 to 18, I think that's what it is. In each district, there are 12 districts, so there's 24 people in total. They drop them in an arena. There is a thing in the center called the cornucopia, which has a bunch of weapons and supplies and things like that. So one of the first choice that you make in the game is what really matters, which is, do you go and try and grab those supplies with another 23 people potentially going for it? Or do you run to the woods and try and get cover and try to get and hide? Because you can take the risk and get yourself really kitted out, get a nice fucking bow and arrow, get some knives or a machete or some shit, or like a Poseidon trident that was in one of the movies for some reason.
Yeah.
And you can have a really good weapon, or you cannot fucking die from trying to go get a weapon. Because at the beginning of the game, the first thing that happens is like 8 people die because they're going for the cornucopia. So that's the first decision you make, and then there's a bunch of different natural things that they put in it, or like really. So the whole arena is like simulated. Not simulated. I don't know how to describe it. Like it's like there's cameras everywhere because it's basically a reality show that they do every year, to show the government's power. And it can be manipulated by game makers. So like kind of like, you know, like in Fortnite or Warzone, there's like a gas thing that like pushes you in closer to the people. They'll have like there's someone sitting in a tree. All right, set that tree on fire. Like some crazy shit like that. And then so they'll try and eventually push the players together to get it to be more entertaining. And then finally, the last element of it, and we can choose whether or not to include this because that kind of throws some of the elements out of it, is that like marketability as a person matters a lot, because like there will be rich people that will like pay to give you gifts while you're in the arena to help you out. Like if you're like dying of thirst and you have a sponsor that like wants you to win, they can send you a canteen full of water, things like that. So like if you're really boring, or like you're like get in it when you're 13 and you're a little girl, like what happens in the first one, like no one's sponsoring you because they know you're gonna fucking die.
Yeah.
So like not being, but like that also applies to like not being an asshole. Because if you're like an asshole and you just like ruthlessly kill this 13-year-old girl with no mercy, no one's gonna be like, yeah, let's help that guy out. He's a good guy. So it's a weird balance.
Now, I want to clarify one thing before I start calculating what decisions I need to make here. In the real Hunger Games, I say real like it's a real thing. In the real fictional Hunger Games, it's people team up, but ultimately it comes down to one, I think.
Yes, that's important. Only one survivor.
So is it imply that if I want to survive at the end, that I need to then be able to stab my teammates in the back?
Yeah, so you can team up with people, but eventually you're gonna have to kill them. And the thing is, also, like a full week before the game happens, you're like in this incredible, like really nice like hotel with a bunch of training facilities and as much food as you could ever ask for, and you do interviews before it like it's a fucking sport. Like, it's actually pretty sick. Like, they'll have you go up and you have to hang out with all the people that you're eventually going to kill. So, like, I've seen, there's this film theory video that he made about, like, how to survive Hunger Games. And one of the first things he said was, you need to spend as much time as possible eating as much food as you can. Because loading up on that means extra fat, which means you have more stuff to burn when you're starving.
Makes
like,
sense.
if you're really skinny, like Kevin Durant ain't surviving this shit. He's going to have no meat on his bones, and he's going to start getting hungry, and he's not going to have any fat reserves to make up for that. So, like, Glenn Davis might have a pretty damn good chance. Or Raymond Felton.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay, I got you.
So basically, you need to be able to fight, you need to have good decision making, and you need to be marketable. So
how many players do we like? Are we choosing like 3 players or what? Or
so I'm just gonna say the pool is in all NBA players. We're not gonna like limit it. Like, what NBA player throughout history even do you think is the most suited to win the Hunger Games?
Damn. So one NBA player. Well, when you're mentioning how you need to have like a lot of fat in your body and shit, and you need to have high IQ, playmaking, shit, I like immediately thought of Nikola Jokic. Now obviously he like lost weight. I'm pretty sure he gained weight again, for sure he did. Because he had this weird thing where he lost hella weight during the regular season and he got in shape into.
But you also
really not that weird.
You also can't be so out of shape that like it's holding you back from like being able to run for your life. Like,
I mean, none of these guys.
Jokic is one of the slower players in the NBA.
They're NBA players. Like Nikola Jokic is like memishly out of
but
shape,
he's playing
like,
against other NBA players. That's the thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, if that's the case, then I'm
also thinking like if you're
athletic, like all 3 of us in this theoretical thing happening here, like assuming that. Like, are we participating in the Hunger Games with these guys? Is that what's happening here?
No.
Oh, okay, thank God.
But, like, if you're, like, 7 feet tall, though, that makes you a very big target for, like, bow and, like, throwing knives and shit like that.
Yeah.
There are no guns, by the way. So, like, I'm thinking, like, a 7-footer or something close to it. Like, Jokic is, like, 280-plus pounds. That's a big fucking target.
Yeah.
And he's not fast.
I got you. Got you.
So it needs to be a not incredibly tall player who has some fat reserves, but is also strong and fast and marketable-ish. And, like, I'm initially kind of thinking, like, James Harden.
Mm-hmm.
Because James Harden has some fat on him, but he's also strong and fast. And I guess he's marketable. It depends on how you view it. It's not like he's going to be like out there drawing fouls, so no one's going to be mad at him for that.
What's the Hunger Games equivalent to James Harden drawing fouls? Like, what's the cheap bullshit that you can pull off in the Hunger Games?
I don't know, man. I don't know. This is life or death. There's no time for nuance.
So this man got Harden. Shit.
There's no refs in the Hunger Games.
But here's the thing, though. You don't necessarily... Because, like, you could also take a guy that's just physically dominant, and he will not be, like, low on food because he's able to just fuck people up. Like, I was thinking Ben Wallace is a good one. Because even though he doesn't have fat on him, he can go to the cornucopia, and he can kill a man with his bare hands before anyone even gets to the weapons.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Like a Jermaine O'Neal around.
I'm thinking like modern NBA players right now. Dudes who are in the league today, and I was just thinking about what's that one big black dude who's on the Celtics? He barely gets any playing time. He's thick.
Taco
I think
Fall?
it's like
He's
Semi Ojeleye. No. He's not thick. Semi
Ojeleye.
Yeah, man, him. I choose either him or like Serge Ibaka. I'm from my parents basketball shit, bro.
Serge Ibaka.
Yeah, I'm taking some roots. I'm taking
Serge is gonna get us hella spots
in the modern NBA.
He's very media friendly.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
And he also eats weird shit, so he won't be picky out there. He'll eat a beetle like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm taking Serge, sticking to my roots.
I don't know. I want to go over a lot of players here because I think it's interesting. Like, I don't actually think Raymond Felton would do that bad.
My number one overall pick, and I've been pretty confident in this since you even mentioned the idea of like NBA Hunger Games, is Ben Simmons, like for sure, because like he has this like perfect dichotomy of like having.
He's got that Australian edge. Like those people are fucking crazy.
They are naturally going crazy down under. But what I was thinking is how Ben Simmons is kind of cold and calculated, but like also not so much to the point to where like he turns off the media. In fact, like the media is fascinated by him. He's so pretty. Yeah. People can't take their eyes off him. He's incredibly good decision maker, one of the best passers in the NBA, right? And
well, on the court IQ doesn't necessarily translate to overall IQ. To be fair,
sure. I mean, he's smart enough not to say too much.
He just makes the right decision a lot, though.
I mean, when's the last time you heard a mislet?
Yeah, he makes the right decision a lot. Yeah. So I think that's where he was going to. Okay, so one player that I was like, I think I hit the money on with this.
Thinking IQ though, Jaylen Brown is probably a good one.
Can we talk about LeBron?
Yeah, that's a really good one. That's really
games. Let's say something interesting.
I don't know. I want to veer away from some of the best players.
I don't know. LeBron would start talking shit about his teammates to the media, and they just get pissed with it.
Yeah, he'd still get all the sponsors.
Yeah,
you know who comes to mind?
He would get the whole league, the whole Hunger Games media to play to his hand. He knows how to do that shit.
Yeah, actually, I like that idea. But a player that comes to mind that just doesn't have the marketability is freaking James Johnson.
Yes, that's definitely one of them because he knows like Taekwondo or some shit like that.
He's like the modern Nene.
He's one of those.
The guy who actually knows how to fight, for sure.
Yeah, and he ain't no bitch to no, he don't bitch down to no.
Nene would be awesome.
I like him a lot on that too.
And I could see that guy eating a bug. Like I don't think he would have a big issue with that.
Any guy who dyes their hair red,
for sure,
probably eats bugs.
that's a guy who can eat bugs. Not saying he does, but he could if he needed to. And he wouldn't be a bitch about it. LeBron though, I had a joke about it and I completely forgot what I was gonna say. Fuck.
Damn.
Tisk.
Fuck. Oh, LeBron has so many stands that he'd get like if he had to kill like a little girl, his fans would make excuses for it.
Oh yeah,
look, that little girl was fucking sneaky. She was gonna stab him in the neck or something like that.
Oh man, yeah, you're right, dude. Actually, damn, man, I like that idea.
LeBron has pretty good odds.
I would get a.
But also, let's take something into consideration here. Like an element of crazy definitely matters, for sure.
Yeah, it helps.
Exactly.
And even though he's really, really fucking skinny, Kevin Garnett definitely would do pretty well.
For sure.
Because he has a lot of crazy.
Yeah.
He has a lot of crazy.
Yeah.
Like I could see Kevin Garnett like cutting a guy's head off and then like throwing it at someone else. Like if he actually like if he was in this scenario. Like he would do some wild shit like that.
Shit,
like jam his fingers into somebody's eye or something.
One of the first people I said was Ron Artest. I mean, he's
Ron Artest too, for sure.
NBA crazy.
And Ron Artest isn't like crazy skinny. He's not necessarily fat, but he is also not like 1% body fat like Kevin Garnett is.
He's got some big meaty elbows.
That's pretty,
okay. That time he took out James Harden.
So how do you guys think Patrick Beverly would do in this? Because I think I can see him like not even stabbing, biting someone.
Yeah,
he's a biter for sure.
I could see Patrick Beverly like ripping someone's neck out with his teeth. Like that goes exactly fucking psycho.
But Patrick Beverly
in ridiculous. He's also in ridiculous shape, so he probably doesn't have
to be interesting.
He probably doesn't have a whole lot of weight on him.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like he's not the main character. No one's betting on Pat Bev to win. They're just interested to see.
No one was betting on Katniss Everdeen. No one was betting on Katniss Everdeen, man.
All right, so Patrick Beverly is Katniss Everdeen, huh?
I'm gonna make a Photoshop of Patrick Beverley as Katniss Everdeen for the fucking thumbnail.
I would love that.
Do you think Patrick Beverley has ever whipped out the bow and arrow celebration?
I don't think so.
If he has, we need to.
But I also don't think that celebration means you're good with a bow and arrow.
Oh, you know who'd be great also? Freaking PJ Tucker. I think he'd be solid.
Yeah, and he has a lot of fat. For sure.
He's gritty.
He's strong as fuck.
Player. Whose signature is the bow and arrow? Like, who does that shit more than anybody else?
Jamal Murray and Wesley Matthews.
Matthews.
So they would be good, right?
Just because you do a celebration doesn't mean you know how to shoot a bow and arrow.
Okay, so I think Wesley Matthews, definitely good. Jamal Murray,
I've done finger guns before. I'm not good with a pistol.
Zion would be solid too. Holy shit! What?
Who?
Why didn't no one mention Zion?
Yeah, Zion would win.
Yeah.
Yes.
Zion would win.
Damn.
Zion might actually be the
I don't
winner
think he has the crazy because he seems like kind of he's a superstar, but he doesn't have that like.
I don't think Zion would kill him.
He's not really crazy.
He's really nice.
Yeah.
He seems
but
like
here's
a very
the thing.
He's more passive.
He's incredibly marketable. He has a lot of extra weight on him. He is ridiculously strong. He is fast as fuck. Like, he might be the best mix of all the things you need.
He's my number one overall pick for that shit. I ain't gonna lie. I need him. I don't
know how I didn't think of Zion earlier.
I'm still taking Ben Simmons because I think he can kill a man and not blink at
it. Well, here's the deal. It's not necessarily about who gets the most kills. Like, I've played enough Warzone to know that you can win a game with 2 kills. Like, you don't have to load up on the kills. It can be like, I mean, Katniss in the fucking first, I don't know what the numbers are in the first, the other Hunger Games, but I know in the first one, I'm pretty sure she killed like 3 guys in total. Like, that's not a lot because there were a lot of people that had like 8 fucking people they killed.
Yeah. How bad does she feel about it?
I don't know. I don't remember. I haven't seen that fucking movie in a long time.
Well, we need to
and it
check
wasn't
the
good enough to watch it
material
again.
and see how much these people empathize with the people they murder.
I know she shot one guy with a bow, and then she killed the main guy at the end, the blonde jock dude. And I think she killed someone else at some point. No, she killed that chick who was insane and threw knives. That chick, she killed her. So that's 3 people.
Damn.
Me and Mojo probably should have.
That's
watched
not a lot,
right before this.
I'm not rewatching.
Kobe would be nice as fuck in this too, dude. Kobe would be tough.
Oh yeah, Kobe could
Don't remind me of that. Yeah,
he would be relentless out in these streets.
Wilt Chamberlain would be interesting.
Yeah. But do you think he would be able to compete with the athletes though over there instead of 5-foot white men?
Man,
a bunch
Wilt
of
Chamberlain was a ridiculous athlete for any era.
He could dunk from the free throw line.
You know what they say, man.
Like the rumors say, but he could dunk from the free throw line.
That dude was 7'1". He could bench like 400 pounds. He had a 40-inch vertical. That dude's an insane athlete any era. He just maybe doesn't average. He just maybe doesn't average 50 in today's NBA. That was a little bit of a stretch.
He could definitely put up some nasty numbers for sure. But I'm just saying, if you watch Wilt footage, that dude passes the eye test
for sure.
I don't know that anyone beats Zion though. I think Zion's the best guy here.
I'm still got my money on
he
Ben,
has that.
Sure.
He has a lot of fat storage that he can burn off. Like he might not have to eat for the whole damn thing.
I think we're sleeping on the Ben Wallace thing you mentioned earlier. I was thinking of Ben Simmons, and I said, well, Ben Wallace is also a really good one that came out.
Ben Wallace has an arm that's the size of my arms that are the size of my entire fucking torso.
Good grief.
Yeah, he's a monster.
Ben Wallace is fucking strong. David Robinson, I don't think he's crazy enough. He's like kind of in that same vein, but I don't think he's insane enough to beat Ben Wallace. Because Ben Wallace had that element of crazy for sure.
Yeah. Did anyone mention Dennis Rodman?
Oh no,
Dennis
we fucked
Rodman.
up and did not mention Dennis Rodman yet. This is way too late.
I don't know. This is interesting because Dennis Rodman, like off the court, is a really nice guy, a weird fucking guy, but a nice guy. On the court, he was a killer though. So like, I guess you would take the on the court mentality in this scenario. So yeah.
Solid.
This has just been us like shouting out names.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we have like a little bit over like 10 minutes until we reach our threshold, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, did you want to get into? I remember you earlier in the podcast. You said you wanted to talk about some bank shit again, the bank scenario or whatever.
So this one is probably going to make, if we actually go into the depths of this will make it a long podcast episode. But like, you brought up the question when we interviewed Emio, which I still think is like our best podcast episode, and you brought up the question, what 3 NBA players would you rob a bank with? And that was like a fun 20-minute section of like an 2-hour long podcast in total. But
yeah,
I thought it would be interesting if we took that question and then also like told what our strategy was with those players on top of it. So let me like lay
I have
out,
one off rip.
Let me
off
lay
rip,
out,
I got one.
Let me lay out like a bank and like here's the scenario. So you're in an average sized town. There is a decent police force, but it's not like if you rob a bank, the SWAT team is showing up. All right. There's a vault with $100,000 in it. It has a 4-key combination that you have to get from the bank teller. Or if they don't give it to you, you can just fucking break it open or some shit. I don't know.
Is the year 1951?
There are a couple. What did you say?
I said, is the year 1951? What the hell's going on with this bank?
So it's just like it's a decent sized bank, but it's in a relatively average town. And what else was I gonna say? Rudy threw me off. There's a decent amount of people in the bank that you have to take as hostages, or just tell them to get on the fucking ground. You know the spiel. And you have to get away within a reasonable amount of time. There are still cameras and everything like that. And as a rule of thumb for this whole thing, all the players are like them as themselves in real life. Still have a bunch of money and resources. Still have the level of fame that each of the players do, depending on who you're choosing. Because obviously, fucking Chris Dunn is less famous than Stephen Curry.
Yeah. Damn. Okay, I got you.
But you can also take the money that these players have and use that as a way to help rob the bank. Not to an extreme though, because you still have to be profitable because it's only $100,000 in there. You can't spend like $6 million on a fucking like helicopter and then to get $100,000.
Right.
That'd be a little bit of a waste.
Got you. Okay, I got my 3 players ready on deck. You guys want to hear them?
Sure.
Got you. Bet. So I have a game plan. I have a layout. You know, I'm very strategic when it comes to this. Not that I actually like do this or rob banks or anything. But the 3 players that I have on deck I have them for specific reasons too, because they fit well with each other. So I have a super innocent dude, a guy who looks like he wouldn't hurt a fly. He don't even look like he played basketball. I got Kevin Huerter. Someone who's hella unintimidating. Him. No one will ever suspect a thing with him. I got the distraction. You know, one of the most like unnecessary dudes in the NBA. I got like Patrick Beverley. He's just a distraction. He's just there for the rah-rah. I'm gonna keep him. I had him the first time around. And then I need someone lengthy. You know, I don't know. I need someone lengthy out of the 2. Kevin Huerter got good size. Patrick Beverley, he's obviously like more normal size or whatever. Nothing crazy about him, but his mentality. I think I may choose, you know, I may have to draft Rudy Gobert. You know, everybody know the dealio with him, bro. Everybody knows the dealio with him.
Everyone's going to be scared about getting the virus from it.
Right.
Yes, exactly. You know what I'm talking about. Game wrap. I won this already, dog.
Well, I also want to see, like, what's your strategy robbing this bank? How are you going about it?
Got you. So here's the thing. I'm going to have Patrick Beverley burst into the scene. First off, actually, Kevin Huerter is going to be the first one entering the bank, and he's going to be, you know, acting like he's one of the customers, whatever the hell. But he's really going to be the one doing the dirty work because no one suspects him to be. He's just a redhead dude with no facial hair for shit. Okay, he looks like he's 18. I got him doing the actual dirty work, but I got Patrick Beverley being the big distraction, threatening to rob people or whatever, and you know, causing a ruckus. And I got Rudy Gobert. He's I'm not really sure about his role on this because I haven't really thought that was just a random thing.
Well, you have to have someone to help carry the money out. Money, big
Yeah, I
bags of
guess
money
Rudy's
is
gonna
heavy.
be. You're right. I think I'm gonna have Rudy do that, and I don't think anybody's gonna try to stop or touch Rudy or be in his like vicinity because man's got the Roni, So I'm gonna have those. That's how my game plan is. I'm gonna have Patrick Beverley be the distraction, Kevin Huerter, be the one actually pulling out the gun and applying pressure to these bank clerks and stuff to unlock the safe and stuff like that. And I'm gonna have Rudy Gobert being the one actually carrying the money because. Yeah, I'm going to have him being the one carrying the money because no one's going to actually want to touch him, So that's my game plan. That's how I approach this.
This man's
Very
weaponizing the virus.
yeah. I got to get every advantage that I got, bro. I need every advantage.
Okay, let me tell you my
advantage.
strategy. I've seen enough heist movies. My favorite movie of all time is a heist movie, kind of, Baby Driver. So I have basically kind of my game plan set already. So you need the driver, the getaway driver, the dude who's going to help you evade the police. So you need a guy in the NBA who is a big car guy who drives a lot. And I happen to know that Jimmy Butler is a big car guy. And also, he's fucking crazy. So he can do some of the crazy shit you need him to do.
He cutthroat. You're right.
Next, I want the guy who can be intimidating to the people. Let them know shit's serious and can also fight.
Yeah.
So I'm taking James Johnson. He can kick a motherfucker. No one has to die. I mean, we're going to have guns, obviously, but I need a guy who can, I need a guy who knows how to just press some spot on a dude's neck to knock him out. He seems like he knows that. And then finally, I need a guy to carry the money. So I'm going to go with probably Dwight Howard because he's one of the strongest players in the league.
Okay.
And
here's the thing.
Weird out
I see
some
a
of the
flaw.
people.
I see a flaw in
What's
your
the flaw?
thing. With my guys,
some average looking guys.
I have someone who's not that noticeable, and I have someone who's quiet too. You need a silent killer, and that's what Kevin Huerter is. He's not a big media dude. He's not no rah dude on the court. All those dudes that you just named are pretty much are. So I mean, you need at least one dude who's
all those guys are pretty well known. That's true.
Yeah. So
James
another
Johnson
candidate
Johnson really isn't.
Yeah, I think until you fuck with him, in the slightest bit, that's when he is. So some candidates
he's
for
not
guys like
a
Rudy.
not that famous. I mean, people are gonna be like, that's fucking James Johnson.
Gotcha.
No one. Really
I'm just letting you guys know that perfect candidates out there are guys like Lonzo Ball. He's silent and stuff like that, and he's a good defender. Stealing, blah blah blah. And then also candidate is what's the dude name? Marcus Morris, I think. Yeah, I think that's the right one, right?
Yeah, but he can get set off if he needs to. But I think so the bank teller, he has the 4-digit code. So you have to intimidate him into giving it to you. And I feel like James Johnson could find some pressure points to just hurt a guy in the right way to make him be like, all right, here's the fucking code. Like that.
Oh yeah. Got you. You're right. I mess with it.
Rudy, what's your plan?
All right. I have this weird gut feeling that I've talked about this equation before on another podcast, whether it be mine or this one or something else. But I'm definitely just going to switch it up from how I've answered it before because this is how I feel now. I think it's a pretty good strategy. So, first of all, I'm the driver. I'm the getaway driver. That's my whole role. I'm never stepping out of the vehicle. Number 2, John Stockton.
Are you that good of a driver? You confident you can evade police once you...
Yes.
I'm not. I'm a bad driver. I'm good at speeding. That's something.
It's just my control freak in me, just wanting to have that level of control to help exercise this plan in a way I'm confident which I can perform in. My number 1 pick is John Stockton because what he's going to do is he's going to walk into the bank.
All-time players, but I guess we can do it.
He's going to walk into the bank and look like an entirely normal person. And then, just like he did when he went to the Olympics with the Dream Team, he's going to walk around the lobby asking people if they recognize him. And then eventually, when he forces them to recognize them, he's going to make everyone else start to slowly figure out that this is John Stockton and who he is and exactly how relevant And after the eternity it takes for everyone in the bank to gather around John Stockton and finally be impressed with who he is and what he's done and understand all of that, what I've already done by the time that has happened is I have dropped off Earl Boykins in a back alley behind the bank, and he has gotten on top of the van and gotten into the air vent system. Okay. So we have Earl Boykins in the vents.
Boykins is Mojo.
Yeah, Earl Boykins is like one of the shortest players in NBA history. Shout out to Andrew Quo. His handle on Twitter is at Earl Boykins. So he's the co-host of the Cookies Hoops show. Anyway.
Stop shouting out other people's podcasts on our podcast.
Okay. All right. Fine enough. So we got Earl Boykins in the vents, John Stockton forcing everyone to recognize him, and then I'm driving Ben Simmons up to the building across the street to get a vantage point from the roof. And what he's going to do is he's going to use binoculars, his vision, his vision, get it like passing vision, and he's going to radio into Earl Boykins and John Stockton and myself what's happening around me as I idly circle the block inconspicuously. If Earl Boykins can't get into the safe and put all the money in the bags that he's brought into the air vents with him, then the ultimate failsafe is to just pick up Ben Simmons and have him walk in there with a gun and intimidate them, and we get in there in and out as fast as possible. But what we're trying to do is have Earl Boykins unlock the safe from the inside with all of the money, and then have me pick up Ben Simmons once the money is all secure. We both drive up to the back of the bank where I picked up Earl Boykins, and either he puts the money in the vents and we all just, take our time getting at that. This all depends on how much time John Stockton can buy us. I'm confident he can buy us like an hour and a half, but it might just be 15 minutes. Either way, Earl Boykins is walking out
just desperately playing for attention. Everyone's giving it to him like, okay, we get it. You have the most assists in NBA history.
Right.
Here's a fucking cookie.
Like, oh, you're the all-time steals leader? That's not ironic in any way.
Wow, that sure is. Yeah, my granddaughter graduated from Duke. That's pretty.
He's gonna be like, I was on the dream team. Yeah, it was the 12th man, but the team that made we went to the Olympics in the 90s.
Yeah, I think I heard about them.
Yeah,
they had Michael Jordan, right?
Yeah, and Charles Barkley and all those guys. Yeah, I was with them. This is going to buy us so much time that Earl Boykins is either going to be able to put all the money in bags back through the air vents and we just escape nonchalantly through the back the same way we came in, or at least we're going to be able to have Earl Boykins pick up at least one bag and walk out through the back door by just opening the safe from the inside, and then as Earl Boykins walks out, Ben Simmons walks in and picks up the rest because he has a lot more ability to carry the rest of the money.
Well, okay. My question is, how are you getting the 4-digit code?
We're inside the safe through the vents. That's what Earl Boykins does.
Oh,
but if that doesn't work, then it all else fails. We get Ben Simmons off the roof and have him walk in there with a gun and just threaten people. He'll probably shoot someone just to make the point. And it's going to happen very fast that way. But if Earl Boykins can get into the safe from the vents, then John Stockton is going to make this a very long process. It's either going to be 90 seconds or 90 minutes. Either way, loads of fun.
Why not choose Muggsy Bogues?
Because that was the first name that came to mind, and I thought Earl Boykins was a little bit more hip.
Okay. It's good you didn't choose Isaiah Thomas, like the 5'7" one.
Yeah.
Because like that guy has such a personality and ego. He would have been like, man, I don't want to be the one crawling through the vent.
Plus, people probably recognize him. Yeah, Earl Boykins would be willing to get down in the dirt. I don't know about Muggsy. He's kind of a legend too, Earl Boykins is just kind of a guy, honestly.
Yeah, Earl Boykins tried to come in and be the short guy, but it was like Muggsy Bogues is already the short guy. You're not. You don't matter.
Yeah. R.I.P. Earl Boykins. I'm pretty sure he's not dead, but his career is.
I don't think Earl Boykins is dead.
His career is dead. That's for sure.
I don't know. I should probably check that before laughing. Earl.
Is Earl Boykins dead?
How the fuck do you spell?
Livingordead.com. Earl
That's such a
Boykins.
catchy last name.
Alive.
He's alive.
Livingordead.com.
Can't believe
Why is this a website?
Someone's got to do it, man.
He's 43, doing just fine. He's 5'4". God,
He's probably
damn.
healthy, happy,
Well,
financially
it'd be
secure.
real unfortunate if just news came out that he died from the virus like right before this podcast
God
comes out.
forbid. Oh my god.
pain. Knock on wood.
I don't know that we could recover from
He was
that.
born in Cleveland. He's the proto LeBron James.
Right.
Oh my god.
LeBron
This
James
is
if he
solid.
was 5'4".
Yeah. So I think it's safe to say that I'm getting out of the bank with money for sure.
Yeah, I didn't think about taking the stealth approach. I went more the traditional route. Like I need a driver. I need.
I mean,
an
the
intimidator, and I
situation
need
you
the
set
guy
up was
getting
like
the
a
money.
fucking like a Western bank in a movie. It was like, give me all the money, see?
Yeah.
that's the gangster movie. I said Western, but whatever. That's all the same.
I mean, it still works.
Yeah.
It still gets the job done, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's it.